Namaskar. Okay, so this video is about the almost certain 25 basis point rate cut which the Fed is likely to announce on Wednesday, according to India, the 18th evening. So the impact will be seen on the expiry day 19th, and that's why this video, because a lot of even as we speak, the markets are strong, 48 points up. Sensex is another 100 points up, half of 0.25%. So these are like now this is happening, but this video is more about the bond yields, and I have a video on bond yields and equity markets, and it's been a trader's pick. I'll give the link. But this video is something more. It is about, and even as I speak, the algos are on. So we have also gotten into algos. I'll come to that in just a bit. But to begin with, look at this yellow line, which is India's 10-year yield, and this black line, which is India's 1-year yield. And you can see for the past, like from 22 onwards, post COVID, when this had hit 7.3, you can see gradually it had been a falling gradient. And today, and this for the past 6 8 months from October 23, almost 1 year, you can see there's kind of steep relative to this. There is a kind of steep falling gradient. You know what? When bond yields are falling, that's the biggest a thumbs up for your economy. And not just the 10-year, even the 1 year is falling. So you can see here our bond yield shape is now this yield curve. You can see it, like it looks like a normal yield curve, although the difference is marginal. I mean, 6.8 and 7% over a 40-year period means nothing, but at least the shape looks, by looks the shape, if you take out the numbers, shape looks normal, totally opposite to the US, which is like inverted yield curve. 1 year is about 10 years. So these are big things which are happening here for the past almost 1 year, and we are coming out of COVID from 22 onwards, and we are coming out of a major election. So you see, in spite of that, this fall in yields, gradual fall in yields, that's a big uh, uh, positive key takeaway that Indian economy is doing fine. Uh, More so in the context of the volatile global economy, the slowing global economy. So there's high inflation everywhere. We are surrounded by failed states, Pakistan on one side, Bangladesh on another. Sri Lanka is reeling under heavy debt. Uh, so in that kind of in a volatile neighborhood, India is that sea of calm against a global backdrop of wars and gloomy situation. India is this oasis. So look at it any which ways, India is a strong place. I mean, if you are an Indian investor, you have to be excited about this, and I'll show you some more data points. But if you are not an Indian investor, I'm sorry for you. I mean, what are you doing? I mean, this is the place. This is where the things are happening and will continue to happen over the next decade or so. We are in Amrit Kal, and from in 2013 we are a part of Fragile Five, and that's when the taper tantrums happened. And even now the same kind of thing. Oh, Fed is reducing rates, Fed is increasing rates, Fed is doing this, Fed is doing that. In spite of that, India continues to go on its path, and that's a big difference. From Fragile Five, we are in the top five, and it shows we are comfortable at what, some $680 billion. We should be $1 trillion in a few months, a few quarters, if not months. So we are on that path, and all that is showing. So the first part is, as America's bond yields are coming down, so also India's bond yields are coming down. You know you understand the meaning of this. If America's bond yields are coming down, India does not need to do anything extra to keep the bond yields high and anchored so that foreign money will come into my country. No, we don't need to keep our costs higher, and therefore if borrowing costs are higher, it automatically mean higher inflation. So we don't need to do that. So this is one big key takeaway. that our yields are constantly having a sliding gradient. They are falling down. Now look at the next part. I'll zoom this in, and this candlesticks 1 2 3 4, this is the USD INR. This is the left hand side scale, and you can see, and even as we speak, the pressure is on the upside. That means the rupee, like here the closing was 83.90, 83.86, 83.82, and 83.72. So there is a constant pressure on the rupee to appreciate. There's a constant pressure on the rupee to appreciate. That means although our yields are coming down, we are not seeing the rupee depreciate. So we don't, I mean, that shows the economy of the country is strong, and that's why in the global setup, where there are few and opportunity. And now let us just increase this. So in the global setup, while there are few opportunities available, and when the US dollar, this green line is the US dollar, from 106, it's come down to tuck, 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 waterfall, and it's come down to 100. So as the world economy gets flooded with dollars going forward, as the US cuts its interest rates, the most likely economy which will attract those dollars in a big way is India. So, and that can be seen by way of this rising rupee. And just 2 days from now or tomorrow evening is the Fed rate cut. So there's no panic, there's no treading water. In fact, there's a strong force on the upside for the Indian rupee. That's why I said if you are not in India, you are missing the party. And this line is the Nifty here. Nifty or Sensex, look at Indian equity indices, and they just don't want to correct, whether it's global flows coming in or going out tactically. But the Indian retail investor through MFSIPs is putting in like 20,000 crores a month. So we are at that situation where our yield curve is kind of now this looks like normal, but it's almost flat. But nevertheless, it's not inverted. So now, why this video 2 days in advance of that big rate cut? Because as I said earlier, I have a video. I'll give the link to that about how bond yields and rupee and equities are interconnected. But that's besides the point in the short term. The long tomorrow anything can happen. There can be big whipsaws and fluctuations on either side. uh, 25 basis is almost discounted by the Fed. 50 bips is what the question mark is. Whatever happens, look at it from the larger perspective that India's economy is on the right track, especially coming out of pandemic, after this big mega elections. And uh, now apart from these macro, there are some issues in India which keep happening, but that's beside the point. The larger point is the government at the center and the prime minister, they are all working in the direction so that the debt stays under control, the forex reserves they rise. Now a big change is, now I'll give you a small see the intent, having the right government and the right people at the center and at power, how it makes a difference. I have made a video on Karnataka, and you can see, and you can look on the web also, Karnataka or Himachal Pradesh. These are states where the state's finances are in bad shape. Now, contrast to that, here India is in a situation where the yields are coming down, where the rupee is getting stronger, even if the yields are coming down. Now, this is a big point, and I'll give you a small example of how exciting things are happening. Uh, Home after home or family after family in India is now resorting to solar panels on their terraces or on their of apartments, so that the dependence on coal-based electricity is coming down and solar is increasing. So the difference is the electricity bills are coming down from 5,000 or 10,000 or whatever, they are coming down to 0 or 100 or 200. Now, this is leading Indian investors or Indian consumers to maybe buy two ACs instead of one, buy three ACs instead of two, because electricity bill is taken care of, so I can and more ACs. But now look at it. Why go for a petrol or a diesel car or a vehicle? Why not have electric vehicle? So the shift is happening from fossil fuels to EVs. So as I charge my mobile phone through the night, I just plug in. My car will be standing, and I'll plug it in, and whole night it will be charged. So that's the kind of shift that's happening. You know why that's important? Because today we are at close to 780, $760 billion. Our biggest import is oil. Now, if the dependence on oil imports reduces, and if our exports keep increasing, services, goods, merchandise, we are exporting now. Apple is exporting India-made iPhone 16s. So on one side, our agri products, our software services, our manufactured products, our pharma. So on one side, we are becoming an export behemoth, and on the other side, we are reducing the imports. So that will lead to current account surplus, and that has happened during Atal Bihari Vajpayee's time. We had a current account surplus, and even during Modi's time, we were there. So our debt to GDP is under control. Our revenue deficit is almost close to zero. So India's economy is in a fine fettle. I mean, you can sense that, because tomorrow there is this big announcement and by the Fed, and there's no last hour meetings or anything, or even if they will be more from the procedural point of view. There's no panic in the North Block, which is the finance ministry or the Reserve Bank of India. So we are in a strong position. Our economy is in a fine. There are some rowdy elements who are trying to shift the economy off track. But Modi is more than capable of keeping them under check. So he is an emerging global leader and a great economist, if you see this data. So yeah, there are issues about jobs and all, but largely we are on the right track, in the right direction. So if you are looking at 25 years, then India is the place to be in a global setup. We are looking at Amrit Kal. Now come to the next part. So why this video 2 days ahead? Because tomorrow anything can happen in the short term, but largely India is on track. And even before that, as of now, the markets are like okay, flat, nothing great. 40 points is not strong or not weak, but this rupee trend is definitely strong, and even as we speak, it's just trying to push up. So those are and the yields are coming down. So those are the things that an investor should be watching. Uh, how to implement this? We are getting in the process of being registered with SEBI as research analyst under the name of Indigo Fintech Private Limited. This is Shailesh sir, number 8600043130, and you can use our algos and to benefit from these movements. We have our algos. One of the algo scripts I have made public, but for the entire process and also to be within SEBI's guidelines, uh, this is the way it will work. So, yep, that's where we are. Uh, Exciting times, as I said. Let's see what happens tomorrow. But whatever happens tomorrow, if there's a big fall, it's a big trading, it's a big buying opportunity for the delivery-based long-term investors. If it's a big rise, well, no one ever complains in a rising market, and all that can be captured by our algos. So uh, look forward to having you as our investors, uh, subject to all the SEBI regulations being met. So, having said that, thank you very much for watching our videos, and that's the script which I have got. Buy below previous low, so you can check that one. But the algos are on slightly advanced scripts. Ideas, a lot of ideas I have been making. Some I would want to highlight is look at this thing, Karnataka state budget analysis, and this understanding impact of bond, because this was an editor's pick. So today's idea you will appreciate more if you have you have this background, and this that how a bad government can mess public finances, and how a good government, this is the example of falling bond yields and strengthening rupee, and we don't need to do any panic rate hikes or anything like that to keep the rupee to keep foreigners from going out of country. So that's where India is and Indian economy is right now. So yeah, thanks for watching our videos. Thank you very much. Namaskar, Jai Hind, Vande Mataram, and this is the number in case you are interested in our algos. Thank you. Namaskar, Jai Hind, Vande Mataram.